Elaine skate is the subject of our 2022 rediscovered lost shark. Dave, take it away.
Yeah, Andrew, this one has a lot of sentimental value to me. This Elaine skate, scientific name Leucoraja elaini, it was actually discovered in 1980 off Kenya by one specimen that Phil Heemstra, well-known ichthyologist who was based in South Africa at the South African Institute for Aquatic Biodiversity, collected. And in about 2019, actually, Phil's wife, Elaine, showed me this skate that he'd collected. I didn't think he had identified it correctly. And I recognized that it was a new species of skate. And so Phil had a few species of sharks, rays, and other fishes named after him. But Elaine, who's done an immense amount of work illustrating the fishes of the Western Indian Ocean, she's done a few books. She's a co-author, co-editor on the recent coastal fishes of the Western Indian Ocean. She never had any species named after her, and I thought this would be a really sentimental thing, a nice thing to recognize her contribution. So I named this Elaine skate after Elaine Heemstra in 2019, and it was very touching. Phil, sadly, her husband passed away that year in 2019, but it was just, that was kind of unfortunate. But it was really neat to kind of be able to name this skate for her, give her the recognition she so deserves. But we hadn't seen the specimen since 1980, and here 42 years later, I got an image, a photograph of this from the same fish market they found the speckled cat shark at, and here's a picture of Elaine's skate, clear as day. And so here's another lost shark that was rediscovered in 2022. Very exciting year for discovering these lost sharks.
When you saw the skate and you realized it was different, it was a new species. How do you realize it was a new species and not just some other species that's been around? I mean, there's so many skate species around.
Right. Yeah. Skates, if people are familiar with them at all, if they're flat sharks, but a lot of skates tend to look very similar. The skate species that it was closest to, it was a species I was very familiar with off South Africa, because I was familiar, again, it's one of these examples where I was familiar with the closest species to it because it's very common in South African waters. So when I saw this one, I just recognized, like, this is not the same as what we see in South Africa. And then I went ahead and did some further investigation, took the typical measurements, meristics, which is counting like the number of vertebrae, and a few other counts like that, and wrote up a proper description and found out that, it clearly is distinct from the South African species, which is very common. And so, it's one of these ones that I recognized it because I was very familiar with its closest, what we call our closest conjuror, or its closest cousin, basically. You go like, you guys are related, but you're different. So
Still different. You recognize that it was still different.
Yeah. You're cousins, but you're a little different. Use
that shark science magic then, right?
Exactly.